live stream start with us doing improv warm-up yoga poses.
Zip.
Yeah, zip, zap.
Zop.
Zip.
Zap.
Zap. One word at a time stories.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest improv warm-up exercise that you've ever been involved in for a show?
I don't know, man. I think like there's that one. There was one like where it's like where people were like pretending they were kitty cats and they were drinking milk out of a. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you can see how something can devolve into furry.
Yeah.
Party.
Yeah, they were drinking milk and like I think and the kitty
Fake
gets
milk,
the
improv
or
milk.
Yeah, improv milk. Yeah.
So we were just talking about how we should start every live stream in the middle of some of the weirdest improv warm-up exercises we've ever had to do. And if you've never taken an improv class, you would probably have your paradigm of weirdness, what you think is weird in the world, stretched, because you will see people pretending to drink improv milk while they're purring and walking around a room as an improv cat and like rubbing their body up against other people in the room because that's how they get focused.
And their high-powered attorney.
Right. Yeah, they totally would never tell anyone they worked with the weird stuff that they did the night before an improv class.
Hey, I admit it. I didn't even realize it, but I was an accidental cult leader. You know?
Right. Yeah, improv is very cultish, and you had an improv theater for many years.
Theater.
Definitely.
I mean, I just wanted to teach comedy, but I accidentally started a small cult.
You grew a bunch of followers, and they still are probably following you, some of them, right now.
No,
maybe outside your window.
No, I think many of them would be disappointed with my post 2020 opinions.
I think that I am in the same boat there. I will say this though, I have heard so many of our progressive friends say the N-word and many other awful things in so many improv warm-ups so many times.
Things I would never say it.
I would never say it either.
Ever.
I mean, I remember when some of these people started doing comedy right when they began, and they thought it was edgy to get up on stage and call a black person the N-word. And I'm like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
That is not edgy. That's just not a wise thing to do.
Well, because I don't really mean it. Okay, well then just
we
don't
get it.
say
We get it.
We get it.
Yeah, you're a progressive, and you can call other people racist while calling your black friend the N-word for shock humor.
Is when you give people permission for the first time to be them, push their boundaries,
And they just start, they say the N-word 30 times in a row.
Oh my gosh, they just immediately take that freedom and just become nihilists with it.
Okay, maybe don't be yourself so much. Take it back a little. And they say the N-word as many times as possible, and they're shoving every single thing in their mouth and butt that they can. It's all improv pantomime, of course.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna experiment with a show tonight that I think is gonna be kind of fun. What we're gonna do is, let me get my notes up here. I should have had that up to begin with. That's very unprofessional of me. I stumbled onto this. What's the guy's name? Andrew Tate. Is that the guy's name?
Yeah.
I've never seen an Andrew Tate video in my life.
Yeah, I only know like of him snippets.
Right, so he's like this guy who I don't really know anything about him. I just know that people get mad at him and they say he's from Romania and he may or may not be a sex trafficker. Are you kidding me? Am I about to have my notes? Do they disappear? Sorry, I thought I had these up already, but I moved them around and now I'm all effed again. This is professional. See, this is why I should have done the improv yoga warm-ups before we got started, so I didn't screw myself over. And I don't even think I need the notes. Doesn't matter. I don't need the notes. All right, screw them. Don't need notes. What we're going to talk about tonight is we're going to talk about the lies that continue to emerge that have been debunked or disproven. I don't like to use the word debunked over and over and over again. And we're also going to look at how Seth Meyers from the late night shows, how he demonstrates how to be an ally when you're telling stand-up comedy jokes, how to do it properly, how to be a proper anti-racist LGBT ally when you're doing late-night comedy. And something stuck out to me when I was watching Jimmy Kimmel the other night. I like to hate watch these shows or just to see the propaganda talking points they put out there. And the lies, they're just told over and over and over again. And you can disprove them. You can show video. You can show transcripts. You can show a fact check. You know how the fact checks always try and say, they try to do fact check false, but in the fact check they actually prove they disprove their own lie. And it doesn't matter. People continue to propagate the same 3- and 4-year-old lies for profit and to maintain this myth of Trump, this of badness that they've created about him, and one that I had not heard in a while. It's a 3.5-year-old lie that's easily disprovable, propped up during this interview that Jimmy Kimmel did with Cassidy Hutchinson. Do you remember Cassidy Hutchinson?
Yeah, she was the box. I don't know anything about.
She was the box. Yeah, she's the vagina with legs and arms. Cassidy Hutchinson that worked in. Can somebody get that vagina Hutchinson in here for me?
She was the assistant, right? That he said that you don't know anything about the boxes. Is that
the box?
one?
No, that was
different. Or is she the one that was like about him lunging in the beast?
Yeah, she was the one that claimed that Trump choked a Secret Service person by the neck.
Fake story.
None of this stuff that she has told anybody has ever been corroborated. Much of it has been people who were actually involved, because she's only a secondhand witness to all of it, have said that those conversations, stuff like that, and those incidents never happened. And Cassidy Hutchinson is this brave whistleblower who they are parading around the media right now, and they're showcasing her book that I'm sure she wrote and had no help with the CIA.
Probably not making any money off of it.
Absolutely. We'll talk about that too.
One-legged orphans.
It's number one, man. It's number one. Her book is, and I'm sure that is a natural number one, and people are actually reading it. But she is the most damning witness yet from inside Trump world that right now is on The View. She's on all the late night shows, and you'll notice in these clips, she is like, they're obviously very scripted because she forgets her lines. You can see her.
They rehearse.
Searching for them. She's like the worst actor in acting class, this chick, who hasn't made the words her own yet. And let me get this clip up here. We're going to go through this whole thing. I'm not going to tell you what that concrete, easily disprovable lie is that pops up. I'm going to see if you guys can spot it or if you can predict it as we're going along. We are going to hear some other lies, but there's one in particular that I think you're probably going to laugh out loud at when you hear it, that this one is actually back right now. Like, I thought this was
Trump White House.
I almost commended Jimmy Kimmel for telling this lie along with Cassidy Hutchinson. Here is how Jimmy Kimmel introduces Cassidy. I didn't do the very beginning of it, but I think you'll appreciate the way he frames her intro here.
Please welcome Trump White House survivor Cassidy Hutchinson. Now I'm going to tell you, you're not under oath, so don't worry.
Okay, Trump White House survivor Cassidy Hutchinson. She made it out alive. Trump didn't rape her. He didn't hang her. The January 6th people didn't gangbang her against her will. None of that happened. She survived, and she's not under oath, so don't worry about it. I thought that was an interesting line for Jimmy to throw in.
Yeah, so lie away.
Not that she really cared when she was under oath before.
Right. No, but you're not under oath, so lie away. Go ahead.
So those of you that can see this image on screen here that looks like a even more beta Seth Meyers. It's like Seth Meyers and Anderson Cooper had a child, and it looks like it's Seth Meyers with Anderson Cooper, his hair. This is what came up when I said Seth Meyers telling jokes as a LGBT ally. And this is, they made him a little more dainty when I put that prompt in. I thought it was funny. Okay, now they continue. We're going to get a little bit of reminder of some of her previous lies and just why she's such a brave whistleblower.
How are you?
Oath enough. I'm doing pretty well. How are you?
Is this weird for you, this experience of being now on a book tour? You're very young. You were working in the White House. You're suddenly on TV testifying in front of Liz Cheney. And now you've got the #1 book in America.
#1 book in America,
congratulations.
testifying before Liz Cheney. Every little girl's dream to testify before Liz Cheney.
Come on. Wow. Did you ever imagine you'd be testifying?
I know a lot of guys who they would plunk one off thinking about maybe testifying to Liz Cheney when they were a kid.
Yeah.
I don't know about you. These books, this always happens. Every time they have one of these people they cycle through, whether it's James Comey, whether it's this chick, whether it's that chick who says that Trump raped her 25 years ago inside of a department store that for the only time in history was empty, and there was nobody working on the second floor, and the doors that all have locks on them were just wide open, as though somebody said, we better leave one of these changing rooms open in case Trump wants to come up here and rape someone today. It's like that. That's what had to happen. This woman, E. Jean Carroll, who told Anderson Cooper during her interview with him that she thinks rape is sexy. So whoever it is, they have their books they're promoting, and their books are always #1 on Amazon bestseller list, usually before they're even published. This is the FBI CIA operation where they make this promise to them. You come and tell these lies for us, and we will fill up your bank account with a bogus best-selling book. And the CIA probably buys all of them and then turns the page into they roll joints with them or something like that. Nobody ever reads them.
Yeah, you never see any of these books anywhere.
How is it #1? How is this chick's book It's nobody. She hasn't even read the book. Look at her face. She's never read a book in her life.
Maybe that's just encouraging news that it doesn't take much to become a #1 bestseller.
I tell you what, if I were to write like a stupid book about how Trump tried to rape me in a department store and I've never gotten over it and I just made stuff up and it immediately went to #1, then I would change my opinion on all of this. Let's see what happens next.
It's surreal. I would be lying, and I'm very much so about being honest and forthcoming. But
so that's an interesting thing there. She's very much so. That's what she's about, is being honest and forthcoming. Is that something people typically go around saying? What are you about? What are you into? I like baseball. Been getting into crypto lately. What about you?
What's the first? Yeah.
Right.
The first thing you could say to make me not trust you.
Super into being honest and forthcoming every day.
Every day.
After every workout, I'm honest and forthcoming with at least 3 or 4 people. Weird
By the way,
statement.
Not always great advice to be honest and forthcoming all the time. Yeah. Many, many times where it's the better option to not be so honest and not be so forthcoming.
She can't help herself, though. That's just who she is.
I know, that's who she is.
She's all about being honest.
She just spilled it out in this book. Right.
Honesty. I can't imagine the BS in this book, but part of her story that she's been telling on all these interviews is that after she testified for the January 6th committee, and with literally no corroborating evidence, and she's a secondhand source on almost every claim that she makes. Like she was eavesdropping and heard somebody saying something. Like she's sneaking around in the bathroom listening and stuff like that. She said that after all that happened, she was so scared for her life that she had to go into hiding for 1.5 years. Because Trump was gonna. I want somebody going after that Hutchinson because she was telling everybody about how I love to throw my ketchup packets up against the wall in the Oval Office, and I like to smear it down, and I like to throw my McDonald's against the wall too.
Right, Trump does have a long history of murdering people who have opposed him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the bodies are just lining the streets.
I'm gonna throw Cassidy Hutchinson up against the wall in the Oval Office. There's gonna be ketchup smeared all down it. If you know what I mean.
It's not something I really ever expected, but
for those who don't know, you were the chief of staff to the White House chief of staff, Mark Meadows.
In essence.
In essence, yes. You saw many things. You shared those things with the committee, which did not thrill your former employers. Yes.
That's a fair assessment.
Some of the things you shared. That Mark Meadows and others suspected there would be violence on January 6th before there was violence.
And that's a crime. Somebody suspected that there would be violence. I don't know how she would know that, but you're guilty of the crime of suspecting that there could be some dust-up somewhere at some point in time.
Right.
That Trump wanted to go to the Capitol with the crowd and physically attack the Secret Service driver trying to get control of the vehicle, which he denies, of course. Trump said...
Not only Trump denies, everyone in the car denies and said the conversation that she claims to have overheard never happened.
Yeah, the Secret Service agent denied it.
But they didn't bring the actual Secret Service agents into the January 6th committee. They brought someone who claims to have overheard a conversation between them as their star witness.
He did not care that the J6 protesters were armed because they weren't there to hurt him. And he also told aides that he thought Vice President Pence deserved to be hanged. And you were there for all of that.
Sounds like fiction, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And no, she wasn't there for all of that. She overheard much of that and was there for basically none of that. You know, Mike Pence deserves to be hanged. He might have. I'm not even talking about January 6th. I just don't like the way he pumps gas. He doesn't know how to pump gas.
He deserves to be hanged.
You've seen that commercial of him, right? Where he just sticks the gas handle in there. and the gas pump machine is going beep, beep, because he hasn't pushed a button yet.
Yes, I've seen that.
An idiot. Okay, so there's a little recap of the lies that have not been corroborated, but you know, I can't show you physical evidence that they aren't true. We're coming up on the 3.5-year-old. This is an oldie, but a goodie. Do you have any ideas of what it might be?
Not yet. No, I have to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough one to guess because it does come out of nowhere a little bit. Here we go.
So
you know, it's important for the country to hear the truth.
You were provided with a lawyer by Trump's people.
I was, but I also had spent about 2 months.
This is where we can get a sense of why she might have been willing to go around and doing this January 6th testimony and all of the lies that she's doing now, what she says right here.
So the committee had said that they were going to subpoena me. I was not formally served the subpoena. So I spent about 2 months desperately searching for an attorney that would either work pro bono or at a low cost. I wasn't working at the time. Trump kept me on payroll for several months after the administration ended, though I wasn't really working for him, so that's a big question mark. But, you know, I wasn't working at the time. I didn't have financial resources.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. She had no job. She had no money. She had no financial resources. She was desperate. Then all of a sudden she becomes the biggest, most damning whistleblower who turned on Trump, who now has a #1 book that no doubt is going to make her millions of dollars because the CIA are turning all the pages into, you know, butt plugs and reefer joints. I mean, she revealed right there. So the CIA has this method called, have you heard of the Rice method of compromising people?
No, I haven't.
It's, I had my notes up. So it stands for, not riches. Basically, it lists out 3 of the acronyms, and I don't know what they are off the top of my head, but one of them is like debt, one of them is money, another one is having an affair. It's all of the ways they can get people, and they train their agents in using this technique to be compromised and do what they want them to do. And she's just like, yeah, no, I was financially broke, and the FBI came to me, and they bribed me. This is what I'm hearing from what she's saying.
But didn't she say that Donald Trump kept her on the payroll?
But she had no money, right?
She said, he kept me on the payroll, but weird. I had no money, no resources. And she said, he kept me on the payroll, and she was like, big question mark.
I know. So how about we fill in that question mark? I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
And she sounds very, you know, she sounds like I used to sound when I was in my early 20s, and I have to go stand in line at Coinstar.
I was still confused about her when they said what she did. She said, well, her answer was, well, in essence.
In essence, yeah.
In essence.
I'm very forthright and forthcoming and truthful. I'm all about that. And in essence, I'm going to tell you the truth right now. Actually, I did find. I'll tell you what rice means right now. Hold on a second. I found my notes. Get rid of that. Jeez Louise. Sorry. I need to get a new computer is what I need. Maybe I can get the CIA to give me a computer if I go around saying that, you know, Trump threatened to kill me or something. Rice. Hold on. All right, here it is. Rice it's an acronym used in the counterintelligence training to remind trainees of the 4 general motivations that can lead someone to commit treason, become an insider threat, or collaborate with a hostile agency or organization. And even though it's not really the correct acronym, it stands for, it's not rice, it's mice. That's what it is. Excuse me. That's why I was getting confused. Money, ideology, compromise, and ego. And compromise is stuff that they just look for in people's background where they're already compromised.
Sure.
And we can see the ego, we can see the money angle playing all of the time. And the ideological one when it comes to these, they gather, all, like remember the guy who they say he was boofing people, and they had all the what was the Supreme Court justice where they tried to get him for the hashtag Me Too stuff? Justice, not Roberts.
Oh, Kavanaugh.
Kavanaugh. So that was a planned attack. They had that attack ready before he was even selected, and Linda Sarsour was one of the ones who organized it. I found this whole layout where she describes how they did the whole thing. They had all of their local female activists ready, and whoever it was that got selected, they went to someone who they could find that had some loose connection to Kavanaugh and was willing to just try and go after him. So you build this network of just insane feminists, and you can find one who knew or might have lived within a couple miles of whoever you're going after, and you put the program into place, and then whoever they select, you just pick the crazy chick, and she comes in and makes up a bunch of stuff. It's like nuts how well organized these things are before they even know who they're going after.
Yeah, you just find someone who's egotistical enough.
Right.
You say, hey, would you like to be famous?
Yeah,
And just, look, people sign up for reality shows.
Dude.
Right? It's the same damn thing.
People sign up for full frontal dating shows.
Right. I mean, come on. It's the same damn thing. They're appealing to that side in people.
Absolutely.
Right? And, you know, they're promised with, you know, and then they talk about how brave. They're so brave.
So
what
brave.
is the actual danger that any of these people who've come forward
she had to
have
move
faced?
away. She actually moved to Atlanta to get away from Trump, which is, he comes here a lot, so I don't know why she came here. Denver Attaway says, but he threw the ketchup on the wall. Yeah, so at the beginning of this interview, I didn't include all the clips of that, but they go into great detail about how Trump liked to hear the popping sound of ketchup bottles when he threw them against the wall, because he didn't just want to hear a packet burst necessarily. He wanted to hear
madman.
He is a madman. And she was like, and he would just flip tables over sometimes, and it wasn't an everyday occurrence, but it would be like every other day or something like that. And I think this might be the clip here, I could be wrong, where we find out this lie that it's a 3.5-year-old lie and it's back. Let's see. Here it comes.
Yeah, sometimes it would happen once or twice.
Okay, so let me take that back. So she's on the tail end of describing how often Trump would throw ketchup against the wall and sandwiches, right here.
Yeah, sometimes it would happen once or twice a week, sometimes more. Sometimes would be a week or so lull, but then there would be a bad news story. But it wasn't just launching the food and the plates and the porcelain at the wall. It was also sometimes just flipping the tablecloth.
Wait, there would be a bad news story? So, like, there wasn't a bad news story about him every hour?
Right. Sometimes there'd be a bad news story.
Here is the oldie, but the goodie.
Suggested that we inject bleach into our bodies to fight COVID.
Let me make sure we hear that fully. We have once again come back to Trump suggesting to inject bleach into the body.
Suggested that we inject bleach into our bodies to fight COVID. Did you?
Now, I want you to listen to her response, but also look at her answers with her body as well, because we need to talk about how she's answering, because she is the star witness.
You guys know that was coming?
It was strongly encouraged for him not to suggest that
someone
to the
said to
news
him,
media.
don't mention the bleach? And when somebody would say don't,
She's shaking her head yes right there when he asked that.
whatever, did you always know there was a real good chance that he was going to go with that?
I think some people were naive that when you tell him not to do something, he is going to want to do it more.
Okay, so Kimmel goes on about another minute asking her, so Trump would do things even though people told him he shouldn't do them, because he's trying to make parallels with people told him he lost the election, yet he went out and said otherwise anyway. He's trying to draw those parallels. But we have here the star witness right now, the person who has the #1 book, the person who had to go into hiding because she feared for her life after her very truthful, damning January 6th testimony, sitting here responding to a question, in confirming that they did in fact know that Trump was going to tell people to inject bleach into the body, and they tried to stop him from telling people to inject bleach into the body, which is something that Trump never actually did. He didn't say that. Yet this insider who is revealing this information is assuring the American public that they tried to stop him from saying this thing that he never actually said. Here's what Trump did say. I can't believe it's 3.5 years later and we still have to do this. But here's Trump's actual statement.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light, and I think you said That hasn't been checked, but you're going to test it. And then I said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting. Right, and then I see the disinfectant, where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection inside or almost a cleaning? Because you see it gets on the lungs and it does a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me. So we'll see. But the whole concept of the light, the way it kills it in 1 minute, that's pretty powerful.
Brad, all I heard was take a hypodermic needle, fill it with bleach, and stick it in your arm. That's all I heard. In
go to your
clip.
local grocery store, get a cheapest
That's
bottle
all
of
I heard
bleach,
in that
Publix
clip.
brand. Yeah, the title. This is from Reuters. This video. The title of the video is "Trump Suggests People Inject Bleach." That's the title.
They're liars.
Of that. They're totally liars, and the way that they try and conform this into that lie is the disinfectant thing. What Trump was suggesting, and it was very obvious. Anybody who's not trying to intentionally misinterpret that, Trump is talking to a doctor who clearly he had a conversation with about something that was currently in development at that time, and I have it right here. It's called ultraviolet light therapy, and at that time, there was a company that was working with the FDA. What was the name of the company here? I don't know the name of the company. But the company that was working with the FDA to expedite the passing it through the regulation process so that they could use it on critically ill COVID patients. And when you read the paper and the description of it, it uses the exact same language that Trump used there. Injecting light into the body, a disinfectant that kills the germs inside the body. That's what it is. It's a disinfectant therapy here. It says here, the ultraviolet light, it's a disinfectant, and in the case of the UV light IV therapy, it supports detoxification by stimulating the immune system and promoting lymphatic drainage, and the therapy involves exposing a sample of the patient's blood to the UV light before it is then reinfused into the body. This therapy can be highly effective in addressing chronic infections and immune dysfunctions, and the doctor who was involved in this said that their team has shown that administering a specific spectrum of UV light can eradicate viruses in infected human cells and bacteria while preserving the health. And they said that they would inject light into the body and do a cleaning. Same language. He got the language from them, and then they took it and said, well, Trump was implying bleach. No, what he was doing was he was actually telling people of what was a cutting-edge technology at the time, which they had actually been working on this for years before that to him seemed promising. And what the media did by lying about this and continuing to lie about that is that people go to the doctor and they're told a set of possible ways that we can help you. Doctors don't always think of the latest stuff because they tend to kind of, some of them stick by the book. But if you go there and you are aware of other options, then you might go, well, what about this UV light therapy stuff? Do you know anybody who does that? And the doctor might go, oh, I didn't think of that. I'm telling you, this has happened dozens of times with my mom because we had to find outside the box ways to try stuff because they didn't always have answers that did anything. And they would then be recommended to other specialists. So by lying about this for years, they're actually probably killing people by preventing them from actually knowing a solution that could actually help them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why anyone would have any interest in stopping any potential therapy for
right, yeah, of course,
COVID that didn't involve
right. Might as well
a
call
vaccine.
It's not Pfizer that's doing it. Pfizer.
Yeah.
I think of Pfizer now. I think of Aaron Rodgers making fun of that guy who is the Pfizer guy.
Mr. Vaccine, or what do you call it? Mr. Pfizer?
Mr. Pfizer. The singer. He's dating her now, I guess.
Yeah.
What's her name? Taylor Swift. She's
Swift.
like 6 foot tall, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you can inject some UV ray light into the body. Okay, so that's the one, and it's back again. Nobody cares. And she's sitting here saying that they tried to stop Trump from saying bleach. It's just such bullshit. And she has the #1 book, right? She was compromised. She got paid. Nobody bought her books, but this is her deal because she was broke.
But the sad thing is people don't care. They
Nobody
just
gives
don't
a
care that it's not
Nobody
a lie.
cares.
They don't care that it's a lie. They don't care. They go, yeah, well, okay, so, all right, so that one's That one's not a lie. Okay, but all the other ones.
And it's
all
up
still
to you
true.
to go
They're all
one by
still
one
true.
and disprove all of them. You
Yeah,
know,
it's like no.
The other one that gets me, Denver Attaway says that I bet on average about 5 people out of 100 even know this. And they've probably heard it too. They've probably heard it. I watched a video of a guy earlier from this was 2020, in like April of 2020 that this happened. And in the video, the guy kept saying that Trump said bleach, and he's playing the video, and Trump never says bleach. It's
Right.
the craziest thing. And the fact check on, I love the fact check. So this USA Today fact check from 2020, I mean, these are funny at this point. Fact check, COVID-19 UV light treatment is being studied, not yet in use in Los Angeles. So they always find a way to frame the claim as a straw man. And they went through and they actually said, yes, they are studying it. Everything that Trump said is being studied right now. 100% correct. But then their conclusion was that it was a fact check.
18 Pinocchios.
It was a fact check false.
Yeah, fact check
Because
false,
it's a false headline.
Right.
They're the ones that created the headline.
Yeah.
Guys, people are just cocksuckers.
It's really terrible. It's
Yeah. All right. So now this is where it gets a little interesting with Cassidy's interview, because she starts talking about her relationship with Kevin and Matt Gaetz. She calls Kevin McCarthy Kevin. Very familiar.
Kev.
And she's describing here some weird movie night among all of these people who are Republicans and Trump staffers, I guess, and they're all in this. I don't know where they are, but they all have houses.
How did she survive?
It sounds like she could have,
A movie night with these guys?
And they watched the Brad Pitt movie where he plays Leonardo DiCaprio's stuntman.
Oh.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and she said it's Trump's favorite movie, is what she said. It's his favorite.
It's his favorite. It's brand new. Well,
I'm so forthcoming. Listen to this. It's good now.
Kevin invites us all, or not, he invites several individuals, including members of Congress, back to his cabin. Matt Gaetz was not included. I was one of the last people to arrive, so when you're there, you have golf carts, and you have your name on a golf cart, so you have an assigned golf cart. Matt, I don't know if he had had too much to drink or what he was thinking, but he had only seen my golf cart with my name on it, so he
They have golf carts and lodges, and Matt Gaetz is hopped up on Viagra pills, I guess.
came up and knocked on the door. So Kevin went and opened the door to his cabin where a lot of people were congregating.
So that's where I stopped. I was like, wait a minute. She was in Kevin's cabin.
Where a lot of people were congregating.
Okay. All right.
Drinking and having fun like people do when they're not working the halls of Congress. Mm-hmm. And Kevin opens the door, and it's Matt leaning against the doorway. And he stands up very straight immediately, and Kevin asks what he's doing. He goes, this is Cassidy's cabin. No, this is mine. Matt, what are you doing here? So I go up, I'm like, Matt, what do you want? I was wondering if you could show me where your cabin's at. I was like, Matt, it's a circular driveway. All the cabins are labeled. You know where you're staying. So Matt...
I'd like to go wait at your cabin while you have sex with Kevin McCarthy.
Or Kevin looks at Matt and just, get lost, Matt. And just slams the door in
He
his
kicked him out of the cabin.
face. Matt was not welcome.
And then Matt Gaetz got him kicked out of the house.
So you notice the whole purpose of the story here is to make Matt Gaetz look like a creep,
Sure.
and Kevin McCarthy look like a hero protecting a woman, even though that comes off as a little bit of a weird relationship situation.
Sure.
Doesn't it?
Sure. Yeah, it does.
I would have liked the story better if she would have been like, and Matt Gaetz opened the door and leaned up against it, and he was like, have you seen Lindsey Graham? And then yeah, I don't trust this woman either, Denver Attaway. Not at all. I've never seen somebody who's presented such little evidence be promoted as the most credible witness. I mean, this is worse than E. Jean Carroll almost.
Well, the timing of this story between McCarthy and Gaetz is just perfect.
It is, man. They're
Perfect.
so good at slotting this bullshit in, and they keep these people on the hook with all the payments. And I think once you probably start taking these Amazon top bestseller money and all this other stuff, I think you're probably hooked in to the point of where if you don't play ball with them, then you might get thrown under the bus a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
but
might become a drowned cook.
right, and yeah, your clothes are found separately from your. Everybody takes off all of their clothes before they go paddle boating.
Yep.
Right. It's the weirdest thing ever. I saw this police report on Twitter. I don't know if it was legit or not. Maybe you guys saw it too. Maybe you guys can confirm or deny it. But it said that there was like maybe 30 or 40 calls to that address. Now, I don't know what the time frame of that was, if the Obamas were in possession of the property for all of those calls or not. But that seems like a lot of calls to go to one place, unless it's like an apartment, you know?
Sure.
I don't know. Anyway, you think Michelle's going to run for president?
I think so. I mean, we're going to need a trans president to get us out of this mess.
You know, Michelle's going to be banging Cassidy Hutchinson with that big slong. So, is there any chance Cassidy Hutchinson's not sleeping with McCarthy? If you had to guess.
I don't know. Is McCarthy married? I guess it doesn't really matter.
I don't know. McCarthy's such a weird guy.
I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea.
Who knows? But this is an interesting way that Kimmel kind of listen to Kimmel's slight harassment here, and then the way that he closes out the interview, I think, is great.
Goes around, comes around.
I guess so. Wow. Wow, this is. Do you have another book like in mind? I mean, you could probably write 3 or 4 of these, right?
I think I'm clocked out of the.
That's it. I feel like I could squeeze another book out of you if you know.
I'm sure you could squeeze another book out of her, Jimmy. You're going back to your man show days with that comment. Here is how he tells her she does a good job.
Well, thank you for testifying. You did the right thing, and this is the book. It's called Enough. This is about
Enough.
It's called Enough, Cassidy Hutchinson, and they put her in like a science lab coat, I guess is what that is. Enough, Matt Gaetz, not enough McCarthy. It should be called Not Enough McCarthy Ever.
She have a whole book of these. Enough is enough.
It could be a whole series of this.
Series.
Yeah.
You know, the 8th
I've said enough. You've said enough.
Yeah.
It's never enough.
It's never enough.
Look at her hands when they're in frame. Her hands suggest nervousness.
Oh,
she's super,
she was
super nervous.
Digging at those nails.
I didn't put the whole interview in here, but at one point Jimmy is kind of insulting her and telling her to not talk so much. And because he's trying to just ask her specific questions that they have scripted, and she's rambling, and he's like, no, stop. And she's like, you're making me nervous. And he's like, well, I'll squeeze more out of you, bitch. All right. So I love that we have gotten back to Trump is putting bleach in the body. I think that's fantastic.
That is fantastic.
It would be a good experiment to ask our progressive friends if what they know about that story. Do you remember when Trump told people to inject bleach into the body and see what they said? And I think even showing them the clip, they would say, yeah, that's what he meant.
Yeah, that's what he meant. Disinfectant is bleach.
Yeah. And there's good people on both sides.
You know?
Neo-Nazis in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
That's one where they literally cut the clips backwards and CNN played them out of order. And that narrative is what Joe Biden ran for president on. You know, that's what he said he ran for presidency because Trump said there was good people on both sides.
Yep, that's why he jumped in. He was sitting on the sidelines just eating an ice cream cone.
Smelling strangers' hair.
Smelling some kid's hair.
Yeah.
Eating an ice cream cone. Saw that on the news.
And he shoved that ice cream cone in that person's pants. He says, I have to run for president.
I'll be back for this. Don't let it melt.
Yeah. Take this money to Hunter. Did you know that it's kind of sad because the only child in America that is never going to be graced with having its head smelled by President Biden is his biological granddaughter that Hunter had with a stripper because he won't go anywhere near that kid. He hates
What is her name? Navy.
Her name's Navy.
Yeah.
And Joe Biden wished that kid did not exist. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to play what is wrong with comedy, I think. We're going to show Seth Meyers showing us how how anti-racist LGBTQ allies. How you tell comedy when you're a white ally
Right.
of all of that.
Do you think people know about the term punching
Punching
down?
up, punching down.
Punching up, punching down.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, tell us
punching. Yeah,
about it.
punching down is what you should never punch down in comedy. You should only punch up. So what we're going to watch, this is basically the rules of who gets to punch up, who's not going to ever get to punch down, right? That's what this is all about. You know?
I imagine that this is the way you have to tell jokes if you're a white guy at those
if you give a
LGBT
shit.
only open mics where the women and the allies get 3 and 5 minutes, and the men and racists they don't really get any.
One of my friends had the funniest comeback to that. He's like, "But what if the allies get more laughs?"
You have to stop.
You have to give your laughs.
Yeah,
Stop
yeah.
it. Give those laughs.
Yeah.
Please reserve any laughter for me. We're gonna give those laughs at the end.
And then you have the LGBTQ or whoever doing the jokes, and the audience isn't giving the same laugh, and you can just see the frustration and anger on the faces of the allies.
Yeah.
Laugh!
Why are you laughing at me? Laugh at them.
So here's how I think we can try to do this here.
Okay.
I'm going to play the intro, and then I'm going to play the setup. And we'll stop it at the setup. And if we have any ideas about where it's going, maybe we can speculate. And then I'll play the whole joke again, setup and punch. And we can talk about what they did with this very woke type of comedy here. Really, this is a segment that he does on a regular basis. And here's the introduction that this very, very good ally does.
Here at Late Night, now that we're back from the strike, I'll be delivering a monologue again made up of jokes written by a diverse team of writers because I am a straight white...
Was that joke written by a diverse team of writers? It's a question I always have.
Writers because I am a straight white male. Though some of those jokes that come across my desk will be difficult for me to deliver, but we don't think that should stop you from enjoying them. So we'd like to share them with you now in a segment called Joke Seth Can't Tell.
Now, he is surrounded by a black woman and a white lesbian woman. If this is not the most racist thing, doesn't it just come off as belittling to you?
Yeah. Okay, so...
These are two of our writers, Amber and Jenny.
I'm black.
And I'm gay.
And we're both women.
And I'm not. So here's how it works. I'll read the setups to these jokes, and Amber and Jenny will read the punchlines. Here we go. According to the American Heart Association, lesbians have worse heart health than straight women.
That's the setup. And the lesbian's about to go into the punch. Lesbians have worse heart health than straight women. Any thoughts on that? Solid setup. Could go anywhere with it. You might expect some sort of silly explanation to cause the condition. It's a little bit of a left to right turn. Maybe let's find out. Here you go. Let Seth do his
jokes, and Amber and Jenny will read the punchlines. Here we go. According to the American Heart Association, lesbians have worse heart health than straight women.
Because they have a tiny little heart attack every time they remember Kate Blanchett is straight.
Yeah.
Of course. So that's the odd cause of the condition there. That's the little left turn there. Maybe you're thinking, because maybe they eat more, maybe they don't want, because you have the man and the woman in the lesbian relationship, and sometimes the chick is butch. I don't know. I might have gone with like pussy's high in cholesterol. I don't know which way I would have gone with it. There's a number of ways you could go. Maybe lesbians don't get STDs when they get the one jab that they all get. They get myocarditis because that's the only one that they all accept. There could be many different ways. I don't know. Is there like a Kate Blanchett thing in the lesbian community? There must be.
I guess. I don't know. I'm not in the lesbian community.
I thought you were.
No, not anymore.
I don't think it's healthy for them to be getting so upset when they remember that Kate Blanchett's not a lesbian, that they're having heart palpitations or whatever's going on here. What do you think of that joke? What do you rate it?
I think that joke on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give that a 1. It's not even really a joke. this is like a Dane Cook style joke where it's like it's got the cadence of a joke. It sounds like a joke. It smells like a joke, but it's just not funny.
It's a statement that speaks to a very small group of people, and I think even in that group of people, they probably don't. You're right. I don't like if it were funny, I would laugh at it. I don't care who tells a joke, but I feel like I'm being
are the
preached.
white liberals in this audience? Are they looking at who they came to the show with? Did you know that about lesbians?
I had no idea. You learn something new with every lesbian joke, and she has
Seth never could have told that joke.
She has the typical stand-up comedian. I just told the punchline face going on right now.
It's so terrible.
Here we go. I'll play the whole joke. I won't stop at the punchline this time. Here comes the next one.
Vanity Fair recently published an article titled, "Why Black Audiences Love Italian-American Screen Icons."
The answer is because we thought they were light-skinned black people.
What made you think that?
Because they're always cooking.
Okay. Because they're always cooking. These jokes, again, and Denver Attaway hits the nail on the head here. The problem is that it's not universal, and that is one of the things with comedy. People do find their niches through their POV, but in that niche, you have to have a universal context for the audience you're speaking to for them to respond.
This feels almost like a church skit.
It does. It feels like you have to laugh at these, or you're a bad guy. And the people laughing in the audience probably wouldn't dare not laugh for fear of what might happen. Another question I have is, do you feel like those were jokes that Seth Meyers, but as a white man, could not have told?
Look, we don't get to tell the rules. Let's say the rules, okay? Because of, I don't know if you've looked in the mirror today, Brad, but you're a white man. So
I want to peel my skin off every
What
morning.
you should be doing is taking notes. Because
That's true.
Now you know what jokes you're not allowed to tell. There's two.
I can't tell either one of those.
You can't tell either one of these.
I've been
so
telling
far
those on a regular basis. Yeah.
So far, we can tell any other joke. But now I know there's two that we're not allowed to tell.
I don't think there's a problem at all with a white guy seeing a statistic. That's a writing technique for comedy is you just go find facts.
Yeah.
And it's an exercise, and you just write the fact. It might be false because we know a lot of news is false. But you just write the straight fact, and then you find a way to answer the question that's presented with that fact. That's what's going on. The question, what's next is presented, and then they do the reverse or some sort of misdirection. And you can sit down just like headline writing and write 100 of those, and you might get 10 of them that are decent. And there's no problem with a white guy going, oh, there's a stat about lesbians. Oh, I had no idea. That's interesting. And that's something that I would notice as interesting. I had no idea that lesbians have higher risk of heart problems than non-lesbians, which to me, I would not want to be a lesbian. You could lower your risk of a heart condition by getting a little D, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Straight white guy can make jokes about that. And Dave Chappelle's entire show would never have existed if he followed these rules that's being presented. And what Seth is doing is they talk about how you have to use your platform to raise up those that are higher than you on the intersectionality ladder, give them your place to speak, and that's what he's doing here.
A conservative group is protesting a Westin Hotels ad that features a lesbian couple lying in bed together.
Even more disturbing, they're wearing natural deodorant.
Jenny, how can you tell they're wearing natural deodorant?
Because they stink.
Yeah, I know.
You can
How does she
smell
know
that through the TV.
Right. I mean, I thought it was their vaginas. I didn't realize it was that.
It's just really bad. Yeah, these are like Denver said. These aren't universal. There's nothing funny about that. It's not a question I really needed to have answered or.
Well, I mean, it's a woke company, and you don't like lesbians in bed together if you're a Republican.
Well, sure, yeah, right. But
you got to have Lindsey Graham show up in some sort of. I mean, that's my go-to there. It's like, well, in a statement, Lindsey Graham said the Westin Hotel has always been America's #1 hotel for men only, multiple men. You just got to go super gay with Lindsey Graham when they're going to go lesbian gay.
I know. He's so gay.
He's like, I love dick and war.
Yeah, I think we should go to war. It's really fashionable.
How many times do you think him and George Santos have knocked boots?
Oh my gosh, I know.
Probably way too many. It's disgusting to think about. All right, let's continue here.
Hey, George.
According to ABC News, more black families are choosing to homeschool their children.
Said white people, here, teach mine too.
Now, Amber, why would black families homeschool their kids?
So they don't have to eat food that white people made.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, so deconstructing these jokes, is she saying that all of the cafeteria workers, because let's be honest here, schools are still fairly segregated. At least they are here in the Southeast where I grew up, right?
Yeah.
So is she saying that at these schools that are black schools, all the cafeteria workers are white people?
I think that's the implication. I think they're all white ladies.
Well, I think that's horrible.
Feed and slop. Yeah, they need to have a lot more diverse cafeteria staff in these public schools.
This is a weird sick burn I hear all the time where it's like white people can't cook.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. I mean I
know
know a lot of white people that are very good cooks. I mean, I can't cook. I know a lot of black people that can cook very well,
I know a lot of
too.
people, like just people in general who can and can't cook. Really, I never thought their skin color had anything to do with it. I thought it really had to do with, have they ever tried and learned how to cook?
Right. Which I haven't done a whole lot of.
So apparently, I guess, because of my skin color, even if I open a cookbook, I'll just be like, I don't know what to do.
It's like trying to dunk a basketball. You'll never crack the egg right.
Quarter cup, a whole cup.
Have you ever seen Michael Jordan line up some measurements on a recipe, dude? It's like nothing you've ever seen before.
Well, I can, yeah.
So the implication of this joke here, I do find it interesting. Thank you for the tip, Tony. I do find it interesting that they kind of, in that joke, they gloss over this growing movement of people getting out of the public schools, which that's really, the public schools are shit.
Right. Yeah.
They're terrible. They make people stupid. And people are homeschooling because
I didn't
they're
get
tired
the
of
here,
the...
teach mine. I didn't get...
The implication seemed to be that white people take their kids out of public schools and then have them homeschooled by black people, which I have no idea what the demographics are in a lot of the homeschools.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's true.
Yeah, I don't think she understands homeschool. I think that joke was written without an actual understanding of it.
Grin on his face right now.
He's so satisfied with himself. We've seen that look before. That's the look of a satisfied white ally thinking he's doing the right thing.
He looks like he's sitting on a broomstick.
Oh,
just right up his butt.
A 4-inch wide one. Syllabus. Yeah, he loves it. He's off. I mean, he's insufferable. Continue.
The New York Mets recently honored a 96-year-old lesbian who once played professional baseball.
Do you still know how to throw a baseball? She asked the Mets.
Yep.
I can go with that.
That's a Mets joke.
Yeah, I see. And that's also not a joke that Seth Meyers could have
No, I'm glad he didn't say that. He could have. Do you know how many lesbians he could have killed if he told that joke?
Every time their hearts, because their hearts are they're subject to heart attacks.
That's what the viewers don't understand about comedy, especially comedy in the 21st century, is that you guys don't realize how dangerous what they're doing is. If this was handled incorrectly, people in the audience could be dying left and right. Just it could be really traumatic for people.
It'd be another January 6th.
Another January 7th.
Yeah, and that makes the day the towers fell look like a trip to Disney World, really.
Yeah.
You're right. And people do get hurt by words. They start, you see these videos of these activists like screaming, ow, ow, when people say things they don't like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think whenever I look at World War II footage of concentration camps, one of the things I see is the words that they're hurling at these people, right? That's the weapon that's...
Yeah. No, Stalin never punched down. He had
never punched down.
He never, all jokes must be punching up.
A new exhibit in Atlanta will feature a collection of over 1,000 black dolls, including the first black Barbie doll.
but I won't be there like every day.
All right, that's cute. That's
Yeah.
cute, but you know what would make
Cute
it better? If it wasn't told in this context of a white guy, here's your opportunity, black woman, to tell this joke. You know what I mean? So if a girl, if she was doing a stand-up open mic and she opened with something like that.
Well, I mean, and if he had said the punchline of that joke, I mean,
that would have been funny. Actually, that would have been really funny. Yeah. That's when he should have taken the punchline. Okay, we're going to continue doing this in the DNB XR, and if you want to get access to that, go to patreon.com/propaganda report and subscribe there today. We got about another minute and a half of jokes to dissect here. And what you'll get along with the subscriber-only portion of the show is you will also get the DNB, this show, ad-free. I take out all of the ads for subscribers. And if you're not in a position to subscribe today, let the ads play through. We don't get anything if they don't play through, and it helps us out a ton if you let them play through. We try not to put too super many in there, but we do appreciate that. So thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to y'all next time. Let us know if you guys have any videos that you want us to go through and talk about. If you have content that I'm missing or stuff that you would just like to hear us riff on, I'm open for suggestions or articles that you guys want some more attention to. So send them. Hit me on Twitter DMs is probably the best way, or in the comments on Rockfin or YouTube, and I'll check some of that out. So thank you guys again. Thanks for all the interaction, and we'll talk to you next time. Have a fantastic rest of your day.